Welcome back. This is Nikki Jo with Nikki Jo Budgets. Today's video is going to be so much fun. Today we are going to be putting together my budget planner for 2026. Now I know that it's late in the year, but I've been waiting to put this together so I could do it with you guys. Now, you do not have to have a budget planner to be able to budget, to do anything moving forward. A notebook and a pen and paper, that's fine, okay? I like to do it in my planner, and this is my planner. Now, I like to use the Happy Planner, which is a disc-bound planner. It is just a lot easier to work with, and I can just take the pages in and out and change it up however I want. This is the same planner I've been using for the last 2 years. And today we're going to take it apart and we are going to change it up for 2026. So this is just a pocket. It holds 2 pens, a card, or whatever I want to put in here, and opens up, nice big pocket. Okay, that is where I can store some things if I need to. So for right now, we're going to take the pocket off. We'll put it back on at the end. I do have this nice thick cover that goes over top of my cover page, but it's thicker and it's sturdy and it keeps things clean. So anyways, this video is going to be kind of long. We're going to put together the whole planner, and so grab something to get a snack, get a drink, get yourself comfortable, and let's go. Come on. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is take apart my 2025 planning things. So we're going to take out this cover. See, this is what I love about the disc-bound system. You can just take things right on out of there. So we are going to take out the things that I'm not going to use. And actually, I'm going to put this back in because... No, I'm going to take everything out because I forgot I'm changing the rings. I don't want the black rings this year. So let's take out everything. Set that aside. How is everybody doing today? For me, it is Friday, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get this uploaded, but being that it's Friday, I just wondered how your week went. I had a pretty good week this week. Wasn't too shabby at all. Didn't do anything super exciting this week, but had really good pizza for supper. So as you can see with this disc-bound system, these pages come right out super easy, like such. Don't know if I can get this. Yeah, I can. And I'm just setting off to the one side the things I'm going to keep, and then on the other side the things that we're not putting back in this planner. So that is going to bring us right down to the very bottom of the planner, and I'm going to take these discs off. These discs are the plastic discs that come with the planner. If you've never had a Happy Planner, you need to go to their website and see what it's all about. They have lots of different they have 3 different, well, they have more than 3, but 3 main sizes to choose from. They have different covers, different plans, different setups. So I've created some of my own pages for this, but I've been very familiar with Happy Planner and been using it for a long time. So here we go. We have our cover, our front cover, and our back cover. And it looks a little, I need to wipe that off. I am switching out to these gold expander rings. And I got these, I believe I got these on Amazon. Okay, I'm just going to take them off of here. I like to use the classic size. The classic size only uses 9 rings. And get those out. And then they snap right on. Now, I will say that this thicker, harder leather cover doesn't snap on as easily as The rest of my pages will, but as you can see, it's not hard. I like these gold. I like the gold color better than the black, and I like the metal ones better than the plastic ones. And these gold ones are expander rings, or expander discs, I'm sorry. So they're a little bigger than the regular medium size. As you can see the difference there. There's quite a bit of a difference. And that just means that I can put more in it. So let me snap this in. Flip this over. It'll be a little easier for me since I'm right-handed. Should have done this part off camera. However, I wanted you guys to see how you take it apart and put it back together. So, all right. So, and it opens right up, and we have our front and our back. Okay. This is the pile that we are not going to put back in there. And then I have my pile of what we are putting in there. So I have made myself a new cover. Looks like this. And it'll snap right in here. So this is the cover to our budget planner, okay? Then the first page in here, I wanted to put in my financial goals for 2026. So this is just, you know, the goals I have for the year. I want to get at least a $1,000 emergency fund. I'd like to have 4 days a week that I do not spend money on anything. That is a big goal for me. We'll hopefully work our way up to that. I'd like to have a separate savings account of $1,000 that's separate from my emergency fund. I would like to get all my debt paid off, or as much of it as I can, and also be 1 month ahead on all of my bills. Okay? And so we're going to put that page in next. Then I've written down, I have made an expense tracker. On my expense tracker, I have all of my bills for the month. And then across here are the months of the year. And once it's paid for that month, we'll just put a check mark. I need to get this caught up since we are almost in March. So we're going to have our expense tracker there next. Then, after our expense tracker, we're going to put our subscription tracker. Now, my subscriptions are on the other page. They are on my bill tracker page. However, I made a separate one because I want to mark them off monthly as I pay them, but I also want to write down what they would be if I did them yearly. So this is just a way for me to track which things are subscriptions versus the other page is everything I got to pay for the month. Okay, so my subscription tracker is going to go here. And then I'm going to start with the months of the year. Okay, so I've made some dividers. So we have January, which I know it's past, but we're going to stick it in here anyway. For now. So we have January. I hate that we have a glare from my light, but it is what it is. And then I have a month cover for January. And I'm only going to probably put 6 months worth in at a time. And I'll show you that in a minute. So this is what the beginning of the month's going to look like. We have our divider page. It says January on the side here. And then you can see through to see what the monthly cover page looks like. Okay. And then I'm going to flip that over here. And then right now I'm going to go ahead and pop in February. I'm not popping in filler pages for these 2 months since these months are basically over. We're going to start fresh in March. Okay. And let me put my February divider page in here. So we've got February. and then we're going to put March in. Come on. And then I'll put in my March divider page. So, whoops, got March in here. And now is when I'm going to start my filler pages. So when I put this together for 2027, obviously I will have filler pages in the other months. But since we're getting started late this year, this is where we're at. Okay, so the next thing that I want to have as soon as I get into my month, so I flip into March, I want to have my full calendar. So here is my 2-page. Let me see if I can get you in here a little bit better. Hold on a second. Here is my 2-page month setup. So we're going to put this in here. And then we'll put this page in. And then when it comes time, we're going to decorate this and have this all set up with our bills and when they're due and all of that kind of stuff on these 2 pages. But right now we're just setting up the planner. So we have our calendar. Then we're going to have our monthly budget. So I get paid bi-weekly. Every once in a while there will be a 3rd paycheck in the month. Well, let me pull this back up. So let me just show you on my monthly budget here. I have my income. So let's say for paycheck 1, I'm going to budget this amount of money. And then when I actually get paid, I can write what the actual total was there. Then on my fixed expenses, my bills, I'm going to write down, all my bills are listed. I will write down what I'm going to budget for them, how much I'm budgeting for the month, and then what the actual amount is that it was for the month. Okay. And then over here we have our variable expenses, which is going to be some of our sinking funds, our monthly variable expenses, like what I have to set aside for my dogs, what I have to set aside for different categories. My savings accounts are here. One of them is my one is my emergency fund and one is my other savings that I showed you in the goal sheet that we're going to work on. And this, I just realized, says variable expenses again, and it shouldn't. It should actually say sinking funds. So I'll have to fix that in my computer. But this is what my monthly budget setup is. Now, I do get paid bi-weekly. So based off of what my monthly budget says and off what my calendar will be set up as, will be what I pay or how I'm going to do my budget for each pay period. Okay. What I'm also going to do is on my monthly budget, and we aren't doing this will be done later, not right now. I will have 2 highlighter colors, one for paycheck 1, one for paycheck 2, and we will highlight what's getting paid out of which paycheck, and that way we will know when the time comes what we're paying. Okay, but this is going to be our monthly budget. I haven't decided if I want to set up an actual bi-weekly budget, just because I feel like it will be, I'm going to be writing it here, and then I would have to write it in another spot, and I just feel like it's kind of repetitive and not necessary, but I could change my mind later. So then we're going to have our cash plan. So our cash plan is going to be where we write every envelope that we are putting money into for that pay period. This we're going to have 2 for each month. I've only printed off 1 right now, but we'll have 2 for each month. So each envelope will be written down what we're planning to put into each sinking fund or each variable expense envelope, and then how much we're going to put in there, and then what denominations we're going to use. So at the bottom, we can total that out. We'll know how much money we would need to go get from the bank to be able to put into those envelopes. Now, I am not comfortable with using cash and leaving it in these envelopes in my house. So for me, I will put on here how much the amount is, and that amount is going to go directly into my high yield savings account. And I will use prop money in my envelope, so I will know how much I have saved for each category, but it'll already be sitting in the bank collecting interest. Okay? And that'll probably make more sense later. But let's put our cash plan in. Then we're going to have our sinking funds tracker. So our sinking funds tracker is going to be what binder we're in and what category we're using, and what we added or subtracted out of that binder and put over here. And this will be more used when we do our savings challenges and then also when we do our cash plan. But this is how we're going to track it. Tracking your expenses and your spending, all of that is so important. If you want to know where all of your money is and where it's going at all times, it's very important to constantly be writing things down and knowing where everything is going. And this particular one goes back up here. Does it go there? Let me check. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Am I right? Or did I get it wrong? Let's see. We have our monthly budget, our cash plan. No, we do not want this here. We want it to go on this side. No, I had it right. I'm sorry, guys. I put it in the wrong order in my pile and it confused me. I want it to go here. So then when I turn the page, I have the full tracker there. Okay, then we're going to do a weekly check-in. Now, our weekly check-in we'll have for each month. And on our weekly check-in, we are going to have what we spent, what we budgeted for, and what we actually spent. So let's say I put in, this will be for my wallet mainly. So let's say I put $25 in my gas envelope in my wallet, I'll put gas. I budgeted $25, but let's say I only put 20 in my bank account. So I only actually spent 20. Okay. This is going to just help me keep track of what I've spent throughout the week. Then we're going to have I'm looking here, guys. Hang on one second. That is all we're going to put in per month. Yeah. Let me just double check here. Yes, that's what we're going to put in per month. Okay. Then after the months, which I don't have dividers made for these yet, and I only want to put in 6 months. So let's just go ahead and pop in June, and then I'll get May in here. And we'll get April in here. Okay, and then we will get our April cover page. And then our April calendar. And the other pages I don't have printed off yet for each month. So we're just going to set up this basic front page here. Like that. And then we'll do the same for May. And then we'll put our May calendar in. And then we've got June. Then we'll put in our June calendar. All right. So let me show you how we're looking so far right now, okay? When we open up our planner, we have our cover page, our financial goals, and then we're going to go straight to... Sorry, went too far. Our financial goals. Then we have our expense tracker for 2026. And we are going to glue these together with double-sided tape so that these two pages stay together. So let's do that. And to do that, we just put some double-sided tape on there. And we're just going to put those together just like this. Put them back in our planner. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Get a drink of water real quick. All right, so we have our expense tracker, and then right away when you flip it over, because we've put that double-sided tape on there, and then you'll have your subscription tracker on the back. Okay? Get those in the rings the right way. And then we start with January. Okay, so when I'm tracking these, I'm going to have to repunch the holes in those because they're not lining up quite right. Give me just a minute, guys. Okay, I'm back. I repunched my holes so that they'll line up better on the rings, and there we go. Perfect. So before each month, or you know, after the bills are paid, we'll come back to this, mark them off for the month, and that stays in that spot. Okay. All right, and then we go to March because that's where we're going to start, and we have our calendar, and then we have our monthly budget. Excuse me. And then we have our cash plan where we're going to put our money. We have our sinking funds tracker for all of our sinking funds for that month. Our weekly check-in. And I'm not going to lie to you here. I can't remember exactly how I planned on using that weekly check-in. So I'm going to get back to you on that. And then we're into the next month. Now, at the end of these months, we are going to have some other trackers that we want to keep in here that we will just flip to at the end of the month, okay? One of them being our daily spending tracker. If every time we use our cash or our debit card, we are going to want to write the date, the transaction, the category the money came out of, how much we spent, how much, so let's just say, again, let's use gas. So we got gas. We went to the gas station, and we used our debit card. So the transaction was with the debit card. The category was our gas. We spent $20. So we are going to withdraw from our cash envelope $20, which is leaving us with a balance of $5 in our cash envelope. So this is how we're going to keep track of our expenses. And we are going to put that in the back here. This basically would almost be like if you were keeping, well, no, it wouldn't. So never mind. Pretend I didn't say that. And I do have a cover for this for daily spending. And then that's where our daily spending tracker is going to go. Okay. Then we have a section for our sinking funds. For the end of each month. And I did get this idea of how to do this part from one of my favorite YouTube budgeters, cash envelope stuffers, Budget with Mama Bear. If you guys have not seen Budget with Mama Bear, you need to go watch her videos. I love watching her videos. She is just fun. She's just fun. So check her out. But she has set up her sinking funds end of the month the same way. That's where I got my idea from. And it's going to be done quarterly. So at the beginning, you know, so we will have a lot of sinking funds. You'll see that here soon, okay? Let's say the envelope is for, I can't even think, my month ahead rent. So I would write that here. How much is where how much to get it fully funded? How much would the amount be? What was it at the beginning of January? How much did we add in the month of January? And what's our balance? And this is just a way to keep track of what's in our envelopes at the beginning of the month and then at the end of the month. Okay? Then we're going to have our debt tracker. So our debt tracker has our debt payoff. This is where we're going to list all of our debts, what the balance is, and then when we pay it off, we'll write what our payoff date was and put a little check mark on here that we did it. Okay? So that's our debt payoff. And then this is for the debt snowball. So debt snowball is mainly used for, I'm going to use it for my credit cards. So I will list my credit card debt here, okay? And so what we're going to do is we'll write our credit cards in here, and I will list them by the lowest amount to the highest amount due. Not due, balance. Least amount to highest amount on the balance, okay? You're going to make your minimum payment on all of them. But the first one, you're going to make your minimum payment, and you're always going to add just a little bit, even if it's only $5 or $10 to your minimum payment. So your minimum payment, let's say your minimum payment is $50, and you're going to add 5 to it. So you're going to put 50 here, 5 here, payment made was 55. When that debt is paid off, your next debt, your next credit card that you're going to pay off, you're going to put the minimum payment here, but you're going to add all of this payment that you made all of those months to this. So now so this payment went from 50 plus the 5, so it was 55. So now this one, let's say the minimum payment due here is 100. You pay $100, you're going to add that 55 that you were paying to the minimum payment. So now you're going to have 155 here, and that's what you're going to pay every month until that one's paid off. And you're going to keep doing that until all of your debts are paid off. That is how the debt snowball works. Okay? So we're going to put that one right here. And that is going to be all of our worksheets. Then we're going to flip back because we have some things that we took out of last year's planner that we want to add back in. Okay? These are for the next 6 months. Okay? We have July through December. All of this is for the next 6 months. So we're going to put this together with the calendars. And we're going to clip it all together and come back to it in July, because we are only putting 6 months worth in at a time right now. Okay, I am going to add back in some of the things that we took out. So, let me see where we're at here. I can add back in the February calendar. I don't really have anything marked on it, but we're going to put it back in here. So I'll show you. The February calendar was all decked out with all of the bills marked on it. So put this back in. Okay. So this is what March is going to look like eventually. You mark your paydays. Those are the days I got paid. And you're going to put your bills that are due on their due date and label them. Okay. Then you know that everything that falls in this month, from this payday to this payday, everything that falls in here needs to be paid and when it needs to be paid by. Then when you have your second payday, anything that fell from that day through the end of the month to all the way up to your next pay period or payday of March gets paid in there. So see why I said if I was writing down, if I did my monthly budget and a bi-monthly budget, why I feel like I was just being repetitive, because I've already got it marked here. And then we just mark them off as they're paid and as we go. And then in that same sense, we're going to mark it off in our, we don't have it in February, but in March, we would mark it off on our monthly budget right here. Okay. So once we start filling things out, it'll probably make a little more sense. Also, every month I made a no spend challenge. So for the month of February, there were 28 days. So anytime I did not spend money, I would mark off a heart. I didn't fill it out. I probably spent money every single day in February. So I guess that didn't do me any good. But I made it for every month. So let's stick this in here where it goes. Even though I didn't do it, but we will be doing it for March. So let me get to my March calendar, because that is where my no spend challenge for March is going to go. Right in the middle. Okay. And then I have one that I made for April. And we'll put that one in. And then we have one made for May as well. And June. Actually, that one's not ready. It's not done yet. So those still need to be laminated and punched. So we got that in. In the front of my binder, I like to keep this little money envelope. Oh, I should probably show you. It is an envelope. Okay. And I just like it because of the $sign on it. So we're going to put that back in. That's been in my binder planner for a couple years. And then same with this one. Spend less, live more. That's in here. Again, it's also an envelope. And sometimes I just pop little notes in there for myself to refer back to. Okay. Then I want to move ahead to right after my financial goals, my expense tracker, and my subscription tracker is where I keep this pocket folder. Okay. It says it's a perfect day. I put that there, and that's where I keep things like those no spend challenges for the rest of the year will be in there. Okay. After that, I like to have this in here. Big goals, big dreams, big ideas. Just some little inspiration there. I'm going to stick that in with this envelope. And will I ever put anything in these envelopes? Probably not for some of these, but I like the inspiration that they give. So we're going to pop that right on top as well. Okay. And then I have envelopes just like that with inspiration for each month. So let's go to the beginning of January. So we've got January, and we'll pop this in. You already have more than you need. And that's where this one's going to go. Okay. We have February. Your future looks so bright. I'll stick that one in there, maybe. Jeez. There's that one. And then for the month of March, you know what? I think I want to put them right there instead. So I'm going to move those other two, but spend less, choose well. And then we'll get to April. Know your worth. And I do have one more for the 6th spot, but maybe I don't. I thought I had some for 2 more, but I'm not sure where they are at the moment. So if I find them, we'll come back to that and put those in. And then this, Life is Always Now, that I kind of like to put like where that, where this is. My financial goals. So I can pop right to it if I want to. I can pop right here and know that's where my expense tracker is too. Okay? So, you see why one of the bigger rings, we can hold so much more in there. And this is how thick we've gotten so far. And we only have 6 months in there. And then the last things I want to put in go all the way in the back. And that is this. You can write on it and then erase it if you want to. But it's a to-do list, important things. I just like to have it in here just in case I need to pop something down to remind myself for my next setup or the next year or whatever. I can put that right there. And that is everything that's going to go in my planner. And then I put this pocket envelope has a strap on it, elastic strap. Slide right over here. And that's how that works. And I have my little notes here that go right in here. Like that. And that is how I put together my planner. So, when I am ready to make my March plan, my budget plan for March, I can go straight to March and I have all my pages ready to go. So, I can set up my monthly budget. And the nice thing is I can just take this right out, move the planner off to the side, set this down, write everything out the way I want it to be, do my highlighting, and then just pop it right back in to the planner. It's so easy. I love using Happy Planner. So that is it. We've put together the monthly budget, or the 2026 budget planner. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I will try to put the link to the Happy Planner down there. I'll try to find the link to Mama Bear Budgets, to her channel, so you can check her out and see what she's all about. And eventually, I will have all the things that I showed you that I made in my Etsy shop with multiple designs for downloadables. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you would like me to make sure that there is something certain in my shop that I just showed you, let me know that too. And that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great night.